Hi, and welcome to the VOILA Method podcast, Solutions for the Mind, Body, and Soul with Joel Crandall, the creator and developer of the VOILA Method. The VOILA Method bridges the gap between the complex, making it simple, using an assessment and a treatment protocol that aligns the mind, the body, and the spirit. VOILA Method is more than a technique. It's a lifestyle to help you as a practitioner and your clients. And today's guest is Doug Wenzel. Doug Wenzel is out of Wisconsin. He's a retired electrical engineer. And you may, if you've listened to some of the previous podcasts, recognize that name Wenzel because his daughter also does. Voila. Welcome, Doug.
You're welcome. Thank you, Joel.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great today.
Good. It's good to see you as well. So, Doug, I want to just jump right in, and I want to see, you're not a body worker by trade. You're an electrical engineer by trade, and now retired and traveling the world. But how has Voila helped you?
A lot more than I ever thought it could. When I originally, as you know, started to get into Voila, it was at the urging of my daughter and my significant other, my partner. Julietta would come home a couple times a year and have to fix us old people, as you say. And she said, "Dad, you can do this. You should take the class." So originally I thought I'd pick 1.0, and Julietta pressured me, and Susan pressured me, and so I took 1.0. Thinking that's probably as far as I'd ever go with procedure. And, it was completely foreign to anything I have ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Got this 72-year-old brain working again. And I guess the big aha moment when the first class is when you freed up a shoulder with adjusting my third toe.
Yeah.
Blew everybody's mind, and then I thought, well, being the engineer, I thought, well, makes some sense. I know buildings that were footing or a foundation would fail and sink, and then the roof would leak the con of it, so I guess that's what it would work.
Uh-huh.
And this is an old body that has been used, and I, thought, well, it's just part of getting old, putting up with all these injuries between sports and accidents, farm accidents, and what have you. And after we did that class, we took a trip to Alaska, and I was just, pretty basic and was assessing myself and doing Susan, and got to Alaska and met an old friend of hers from when she lived there, and she was near 80, walked like Quasimodo, and not having any confidence yet in this. She looked very delicate, like if, you even did the slightest assessment, you might break her. Well, turns out she's a very strong woman. Look frail. And after 3 days there, I did assess her son-in-law, who had been a baggage handler and had a lot of problems with his shoulders, and I assessed him and made some corrections and freed up his shoulders remarkably. And then at this point, Liv wanted to be assessed. So I did, made an adjustment, and her daughter screamed when she stood up because she actually stood up straight.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my gosh, did I do this? At this point, I decided, well, I got to take this class again because I didn't pay good enough attention to her. I repeated the class, which for somebody that comes from the outside and is an absolute must, and I think it's so different, even for people that practice different modalities.
Mm-hmm.
I think it pays off, and I started to see things, and then I started to find I thought these old injuries was just something part of life.
Right.
And the change was, I think, in the second time I did 1.0, then I realized that all these pains aren't just physical.
Right.
And emotions came. And then I went on to 1.5. And
well, at that class, Doug, you got to watch me work with an ex-NFL player that had a head injury, and that's why he had to stop playing. That was kind of your aha moment there, wasn't it?
And there was a lot of things there. And then I've had sessions with you. And, here's the thing. I have had low back problems, shoulder problems, basically most of my adult life, injured. And I just assumed they would be there until they planted me. So, and with the shoulder, after you fixed it, I was able to assess and do some things to, some of the pain would come back, and I would assess and it'd be good, and it'd come back, and I would assess and fix it again. And then I had some sessions with you, and all of a sudden now, my shoulders now are pain-free. I almost think I can throw overhand again.
Wow.
And I don't have all my back pain. I said back pain, it was in my sacrum. And when I first did this, and Julietta had adjusted my SI joint, and I was able to do them myself. I was doing. Now all of a sudden, when I get this other injury that isn't of the physical type, emotional injury, all of a sudden my back doesn't bother me. And Susan, with her, as you know, is having her hip done. I always drive a big truck, because little cars always bothered my back. Climbing in my truck with her hip and going, we went on a little trip, and we took her car, her little Subaru, which I barely fit in. I'm a full-size person. And no back pain sitting in a little car.
Nice.
This is amazing. This wasn't just, so all those things I thought were strictly a physical injury were not.
Yeah.
There's other injury there, as you can say.
Yeah.
I've learned I'm still working on it, and these injuries, they tend to come back too.
Sure.
Emotional ones.
But you have found the assessment to be fairly easy, right? You picked up, you're able to do the assessment.
Yeah. So now, this is one of the reasons, never thinking this emotional thing, being a whole German where emotions you were taught were a thing of weakness, this is quite a enlightenment for me. This is basically why I want to take 2.0 now. Never, when I started this journey, thinking this would ever happen.
Yeah. Well, you got some great success with that person in Alaska, right? I think they had severe scoliosis, didn't they?
Well, she just, her one, it was a severe scoliosis, and she's in Florida now, and Julietta is treating her.
Oh.
So, and basically, what you found out was my one glute was firing way back. She had some, I forget the terminology.
That's okay. That's okay, because we want people to understand and know that you really don't need to know all this anatomical information. You don't need to know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
That was the other amazing thing. If you have an open mind and open heart, you can do this.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. When I start out with Liv, when she straightened up, I was amazed. In the beginning, every time, I don't treat people, just friends, and relatives, and
Mm-hmm.
then we go on these trips, and Susan makes me help people.
Yeah. Now, you recently just went to Vietnam and helped somebody, right? You recently just went to Vietnam to help somebody in Vietnam.
Yeah, and we had 3 people on that trip. We had one lady. She came on the trip wearing a knee brace. About 6 weeks before the trip, she badly sprained her MCL, and she actually had some kind of fracture in her tibia.
Mm.
And she was walking, and then we were in Hanoi, and in getting the cities, you walk in the streets because the sidewalks are filled with little makeshift restaurants on the sidewalk and motorbikes. So you can't walk. And she slipped and fell on a cobblestone street, landed on her shoulder. And the next day she was complaining to Susan that I couldn't sleep a wink last night. I was in so much pain. So Susan said, well, Doug can fix you, of course. So I assessed her and adjusted her clavicles and the mandrum and some ribs. And then I did some work on her, I believe it was her callus or I don't know, on her leg. Well, the next day she said she slept like a baby and she never wore a brace the whole rest of the trip.
Wow.
And of course, then there's this lady from Michigan, and she was fascinated by this. She was a very tall lady,
Mm-hmm.
5'13", and she didn't want to be 6 feet. And her one shoulder always drooped. She kept, can you accept? I said, okay. She was just real curious about this and asked me questions. I assessed her, and it turns out that, I looked at her and she was kind of cockeyed anyway. Her one hip went, and her shoulder dropped, and I assessed her. It came up, ribs and clavicle, and did a bunch of assessments. She said that, when I said, "Have you got any problems?" She said, "My right hand is weak."
Wow.
That was the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Dropped. And, we got done. She was fine. And she got up, and I also adjusted their left ilium. And she got up, and she was standing. Her shoulders were level, and her hips were straight. And this is when I found out. She says, I don't feel like I need my lift in my shoe anymore. She's had a lift in her one shoe for years.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told her one leg was short.
Yeah, that's typical.
And she took her lift out. She never wore a lift again.
Wow, that's the first time hearing that story there, Doug.
Yeah, and then...
So what the beauty of this, Doug, is you have no idea that most modalities and most practitioners would take years to fix what you fixed in just a few minutes.
Yeah, and that's and what I found out, with myself, I can fix it. And the ones that came back, I finally realized the people that have it back, and that's why I want to take 2.0, and it's mostly for my own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
I am convinced the ones that come back that don't stay fixed, sometimes you re-injure yourself. I understand that, but I think most of those are connected to this thing called emotions.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, that's why, I talk a lot about if you're working on just the physical body, you're only going to get so far. It's like standing at the bottom of the steps and you've taken the first step, but you got 12 more steps to go before you get to the top.
It was so obvious in me, that these pains that I've had for years, and I assumed it was all physical from injury.
Right.
Yeah, the initial pain was there, but they would have healed themselves.
Yeah.
If I could have.
Doug, tell them about when we did a correction to your nose, which your nose has been. You can let them know how many times the viewers know how many times you've broken your nose.
That's still interesting to me today. It made when you grabbed that, I thought you broke it again.
Even though it was very gentle, it felt like it.
I'm very clumsy, I guess, and through the years we figured I broke my nose 13 times. We counted up one. Might have missed a couple in there too, but anyway, so that was in Crystal Lake, second 1.0, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it went crackle pop, and well, a lot of emotions came out with that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then I forget, what did we correct with that adjustment now? There was something else.
I think that was your pelvic floor.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was it. Yeah.
Yep.
Pelvic floor wasn't balanced. Came through with that. But the amazing thing is, I've always had a lot of sinus drainage. And that has virtually cleared up.
Nice. Now, I believe, Doug, and remind me, I believe the first time Julietta worked on you, you didn't mention it, but you had Bell's palsy, and now you don't.
Yeah, I had, when I was about 35, I had Bell's palsy, and I've always had residual paralysis on that side of my face. And I had a numbness above my right, around my right eye. It feels like my face was there, and I had the habit of always going up and checking to see if it's there. And she did some adjustment. I can't remember.
I think she was on your feet, wasn't she? Can't remember.
I can't remember.
That's all right.
Anyway, yeah, that has been coming back. The feeling came back, and there's another thing that every once in a while when these emotions start coming back in,
mm-hmm.
I notice all of a sudden the paralysis and the pain the numbness starts to come back in.
Uh-huh. So Doug, what just came up for you just now? Because we can, if people that are watching this, they can just see that the emotion just came up. Can you connect into what one just came up for you?
Well, it's I think it's an emotion of happiness. Finally finding the love of myself and love of my life.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Realizing now that some of this pain isn't all physical that I have.
Yeah.
And now that
But that's one of the things we talk about, isn't it, Doug? Is about voila, you get to learn about yourself and find yourself, and this importance of self-love.
And that's, I guess, when I took the first course, I thought, why am I getting into this at this age? But I think, anybody, whether they're going to practice on other people, it's well worth it. I mean, if you can find happiness, physical, get rid of physical pain, emotional pain, that few $100 for these classes is a hell of a lot cheaper than a psychiatrist or a medical doctor.
A little bit quicker too, isn't it? It's a little bit quicker, a little faster.
I'm looking forward to 2.0.
Yeah, So you kind of touched on it there a little bit, Doug. Can you talk a little bit more about, if you're not a body worker, maybe why you want to take this class?
The 2.0?
The 1.0. The 1.0 class.
1.0.
Uh-huh.
For somebody else. Well, it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, you can avoid a lot of misery, so,
Because you work on yourself every day, don't you, Doug?
what?
You work on yourself every day.
And if something doesn't feel right, I test again,
Mm-hmm.
and if I find, the latest thing I found out, when I worked on Susan or somebody else, right after that, I need to test myself.
Correct. Yep.
I actually, the Susan, she's had so much trouble with her right hip, and as I told you, I've been having to adjust her really, a couple times a day almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she needs that hip replaced.
My area hasn't been out in months, but it was out, my right one, the same as her.
Oh, a little sympathy, huh?
No, it's been a tremendous tool for me myself. One day I got over ambitious here on the farm, and I ran the chainsaw, cut up a big tree, and I did something else too. I really worked. Oh boy! All of a sudden, I went to lay down, and my shoulder. I get back up, assessment, do a few adjustments, and I'm good to go. So, that alone. But the real value is learning about yourself.
Yeah.
Even, that is such a plus with this. And, you don't have to open a practice and do voila. If it wouldn't be for Susan, I probably wouldn't have near as many experiences.
Yeah, Alaska, Vietnam, just working on people all over the world.
Whenever we take a trip, now I'm probably stepping beyond, but as I say, now I used to be just amazed every time I did it. Now I'm to the point when I assess somebody and make a correction, I expect it to.
Oh.
That's quite a
Your confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. We were down at her grandson's hockey match, and her daughter comes there with a big purple funnel brace on her hand.
Mm-hmm.
So up in the hotel room she comes, we assess her, make a few adjustments, and she's not wearing her brace anymore. And then after she got home, she called. She was talking to her mother, and she had done something, wrenched her back. So I said, well, what the hell? I'll try it. We did a video.
Oh, you did it over the internet.
We did a video chat. I made a correction there. So,
Look at you go, Doug.
I can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Try it. Maybe it will. If it works, great. That's it. So that's I'm not afraid of it anymore.
Yeah, because you're not afraid of yourself anymore. How awesome is that?
That's
Yeah.
And that's the main thing, the way the whole VOILA system works. You got to believe in it and have confidence.
Yeah, which is confidence in yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the number one. You have to have confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And and one of the hardest things for me is, is one of my emotions is, failure.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can't be worried about failure because, if it doesn't work, maybe you miss something, assess again, and then you'll find it.
Exactly.
So I think that was a big one for me. I'm not I don't worry about, if it didn't work, we'll try it again. It'll work then, That held me back initially, like even I was afraid to work on live in Alaska because, I thought this was way beyond anything I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what enlightened me. So, getting confidence is a big.
Perfect, Doug. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I think we covered quite a bit. We talked about, finding yourself, finding that self-confidence and working with scoliosis and Bell's palsy and the foot lift. And boy, I think you covered quite a few things that I would put you up against any other practitioner, Doug.
Juliana said, well, Dad, I might have to make you come to work for me.
Right? You're going to come out of retirement.
I like to travel too much.